Hello, my name is Matthias Cavodi. I'd like to welcome you guys to my channel. Today we're going to talk about the Marvel Team Up series that came out in 2005, written by Robert Kirkmen. He did a fantastic job on this series. It's a real treat. Like, before I spoil the hell out of the issues that we're going to cover, I'm going to cover issues 7 through 13. Just go, if you like comic books, you like reading good stories, you're going to get a blast out of this. We have two story arcs. In the first story arc, we have art by Scott Collins, and in the second story arc we're going to have art by Paco Medina. So why I like this series so much is I get a real blast with the interaction with characters. Like, some of the dialogues are just really good. At least I had a great time with. And to see, like, especially in this first story, a certain event takes place and we have Marvel heroes that are all around New York City. So they see the event from a different perspective and how they arrive to deal with the situation. So that's why I think it's so interesting. So what happens in the beginning of the story, we have Ringmaster. He gets his hands on this ring that's actually made out of the cosmic cube. It was originally commissioned to the Mandarin, the original Mandarin. He had died. Ringmaster is able to obtain this ring. He actually steals it from this wise old man and decides to go to New York City to cause some trouble. So what happens is we have Moon Knight. He's battling against the Constrictor. And here's one really cool thing with Robert Kirkman. Like, he brings back a lot of really obscure or forgotten characters. Like, Moon Knight had been missing in action from the Marvel Universe for a real long time. So, like, you got to see Moon Knight. Sleepwalker reappears in the series. Nova, and so many other characters. Like, it seems that Robert Kirkman sort of has a thing for these types of more obscure characters. So, Constrictor's battling against Moon Knight. Spidey pops in, tries to give Moon Knight a hand, and here's where we have one of those dialogues that I just thought was just brilliant. So they're able to defeat Constrictor, tie him up, being left for the police. And when the police arrive, like, Spider-Man says, "Hey, I gotta go because the police don't like me. They're gonna try to arrest me at the same time, even though I do help them a lot." And Moon Knight sort of acknowledges, "Yeah, I have the same problems. Like, this is sort of normal superhero vigilante problems. Don't worry, I understand you." So Spidey and Moon Knight, actually Spidey hitches a ride with Moon Knight, go back to his house, and they come across with the Ringmaster, who's causing trouble in the middle of New York City. He's got the cosmic ring, so he's insanely powerful. So what happens is Moon Knight's able to get a lucky shot on Ringmaster, hits him with one of those batons, probably breaks his face. Ringmaster, with his new powers, get really pissed off, causes a major explosion. And what we're going to see in the next couple of issues are heroes around New York City hearing or seeing the explosion from afar, having to stop what they're doing and go see what's going down. So that idea is so cool. So next issue, we have Punisher and Blade. So Blade's staking out a group of vampires. They're making a deal with the mafia. And obviously, he comes across with the Punisher. He's probably drawn there too, because these are mob dudes. He tends to kill mob dudes. So they have an interaction. Mostly it's a monologue of Blade trying to talk with Punisher. While Punisher just barely says a word. It's like, it's sort of funny. There's a moment where Blade tells Punisher, like, "Man, you're too hardcore. What the hell's wrong with you?" And so he explains, like, just don't jump into the situation. It's a vampire thing. Let me deal with this. And so he sort of convinces Punisher just to follow Blade's lead. So when the Punisher sort of realizes vampires involved and stuff like that, he's like, "Hey, you deal with this. It's your thing. I'm gonna go see what happened further down into the city. I heard this explosion. Bye. See you." So he pieces out. Punisher goes to investigate what happened with the explosion. Leaves Blade battling against the vampires. Then we cut to Daredevil and Luke Cage. This tie-in, this particular issue is a blast. So Daredevil is having to deal with this new stilt man. He's like the ultimate loser bad guy. So as they're battling, Luke Cage jumps into the fray, helps Daredevil defeat Stilt Man, and they start talking. And so Luke Cage tells Daredevil's like, "Hey, my wife's pregnant. I went out to buy a burger. I happened to see a Stilt Man. I gave you a hand, but because the thing is, they hear that this explosion. So Daredevil says, "Hey, we have to go see what's going on. We're superheroes." Is like, no. My wife's hungry. I have to take her this hamburger because I'm going to be in deep shit if I don't. And so I thought that reaction was so hilarious with Luke Cage and Daredevil. Next issue, we have the return of Sleepwalker, this character that I really love. I remember there was like a Sleepwalker ongoing series right around the time I got into comic books. Darkhawk also had his own series and stuff like that. So I have fond memories of this Sleepwalker series. So his host falls asleep, goes out fighting crime, crosses paths with Black Cat. And what happens is the explosion takes place. And look at this little detail here. You see Luke Cage and Daredevil on another roof. That's sort of a really cool implication of this series, that there's too many superheroes in New York City. And like when all of them reach the place of the explosion, like there's like at least 10 heroes to deal with one villain. So that's pretty hilarious. But what happens is the explosion causes Rick, Sleepwalker's host, to wake up, and that makes Sleepwalker vanish. So the explosion makes Sleepwalker go back to his domain. Also, the whole subplot that's going to be the first next plot is this Skrull. His name is Titannus. He crash land in Tokyo, and the deal is he beat the crap out of Sunfire in a previous issue, and he wants to call the attention of Earth's heroes because he needs their help. So what he does is he levels a city. Like he has this really weird logic. This is like, they'll become my friends if I destroy one of their cities. So it just really shows off how insanely powerful Titannus is. Next issue, we have Wolverine and Captain America. They have this really weird and interesting exchange where they swap all the information on the respective villains, the Avengers villains and the X-Men villains. But the weird thing is that Wolverine is on the Avengers during this time. But okay, it works for me. So they're talking about their villains and stuff like that. They hear the explosion. They go running to find out what's going down. We finally cut to what happened in the explosion. So we have Moon Knight, Spidey. They're thinking they're way out of the league, or what the hell happened to the Ringmaster? He became so powerful because he used to be like a D-list villain. Daredevil drops in. And Ringmaster is straight up ready to kill these guys with this insane death trap. And something just hilarious. Moon Knight also drops in for fun. And it's hilarious how he's dealt with. From a block away, Punisher using a sniper rifle blows off his finger. He's not a problem anymore. And it's just a really, even though it's very anticlimactic, it's a pretty good way to end the story, because that's how someone like Punisher would deal with this. Like, I wouldn't go into a brawl or fight. I would just shoot this guy's hand off, and that's it. The problem's gone for good. So Wolverine and Captain America arrive late, but this whole situation of the overabundance of heroes in New York City, that's the whole idea, and that's why I liked it. And I thought it was so well written. And the exchange between Spidey and Mary Jane, why he actually went to get her food because the food actually burned. He was cooking, and he left in the early evening, and he comes back on the next day. So the whole exchange between him and Mary Jane is just hilarious. So next story arc, we have this. There's a really good exchange between Spider-Man and Nova, where they don't know each other's age. Like, Nova thought he was older than Spidey, and Spidey thought he was older than Nova. So the whole thing with masks and stuff like that is sort of funny. So They team up to fight against the Rhino, but they get called by Doctor Strange. He calls a bunch of heroes to deal with this problem with Titannus. And the Titannus story is like, it's okay. Like the first one I like a lot more. He's insanely overpowered. Like he punches the Hulk down. He totally clobbers She-Hulk. We get his whole backstory that he's like a Skrull that can't shapeshift, and they did experiments on him. But the good thing, good writing here is where he tells a story where he's like a really good guy, but in images we see he's a total douchebag. He's evil as hell. So there's two parallel narratives, where one where they show he's evil as fuck, and the other one he shows himself off to be a hero. So he tells a story, and he says, look, I need you guys' help. I'm sorry I destroyed your city. And like Earth's heroes are like, no way, we're not going to believe you. So the next issue is basically a punch-a-thon. He was like in love with this space princess. He kidnaps her. And when they wake her up, because she's in a ship, she spills the beans. It's like, hey, you killed my father. You destroyed my planet, so on and so forth. And he's totally heartbroken because he just can't stand the fact that he sort of believes his own bullshit. And so he squashes his head. He commits suicide. Pretty surprising way to end of story? Yes. Fucking brutal also. So this is all I have to tell you guys about the series. This is one volume. I think it went down for 24, 25 issues. I have to get my hands on the second volume because I had a blast with this. So hope you guys liked it. See you guys next time. Bye.